I started the recording.
All right, well,
I started the little recording.
yes, see if they can bring it. Alright.
Okay, everybody's ready. We'll call this meeting to order at 1:30 p.m.
Rudy Castellano,
Present.
Mike Sweeney,
Here.
Mike Cousins,
Also here,
Maria Gilberry,
Here,
Mike Martinez,
Here.
Travis Hearn.
Here.
There is a quorum.
have a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move, Mr. Chairman. I'll second that.
Have a motion by Mr. Castellano and a second by Mr. Sweeney. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Everybody get a chance to read over the minutes of the last meeting?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Sweeney, second by Mr. Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, making note that I wasn't there, but I read the minutes and you guys covered quite a bit of stuff. So I think of the minutes.
Okay. Let's see, no public input, I take it.
No, there's no public input today.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and start with business items. Number A, committee recommendation for support item approved by council at January 18, 2023 meeting. Recommendation for support of addendum number 2 to contract 371021 with DAG Enterprises LLC to provide diesel maintenance and repair for the city of Las Vegas diesel fleet.
so this one came up, as a need to take this before council after our last meeting, but before this meeting, due to contract expiring, if we, the first year of the contract, or second year of the contract was expiring, and so we needed to do an addendum. Finance procurement is making sure that we are doing the addendums prior to the expiration so that there is no lapse in the contract. And if a addendum is not done by the date of the expiration of the contract, then we have to go all the way back to RFP and RFP process. So instead of waiting for this meeting, if we'd waited for this meeting, we would have lost the contract and we would have had to do a whole new RFP, which those can be costly, several $1,000s to do. So we did take it to council and council did approve it. So DAG has been doing diesel maintenance for the city for years, in addition to county work and other folks. And so they are an important contract for us to have, for that ability to have that quick response. So we have a lot of vehicles like the Packer trucks that when they go down, if we take it to a mechanic outside the city or try to do 3 quotes, we can have a vehicle down for weeks. And unfortunately, we have some vehicles that we can't afford for them to be down. So we use contracts like this for emergency maintenance and no emergency repairs. It does allow for the staff still, if they feel like maybe Diego's not able to work on it, then we can still go out to other vendors. But I know solid waste uses DAG a lot, and Diego has come out at 5 o'clock in the morning, gone on site to deal with a vehicle that's alongside the highway. So we do get a lot of personal help from Diego. So it is a good contract to have in effect. So we did have that.
Mr. Chairman, I think there is no need to vote on this. We all approve because
I wanted you to be aware of it. It is a pretty costly contract. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on Mr. Diego services.
I really believe it's necessary for the city.
The ability for some of our equipment, now sometimes we do take equipment in and he's not able to work on it, or materials are taking a long time. So sometimes the staff will try and find an alternative method.
With the city for quite a while anyway, right?
Correct.
he's on call 24/7.
Sure.
And like I said, he's actually one of the few that if we call him at 4:35 a.m., he actually answers his phone.
Okay, thank you on that, Maria. We'll move to number B, committee recommendations for approval, recommendation for approval of addendum number 2 to contract 3717-21 with JCH Incorporated for flight pump maintenance.
Thank you. So one of the dates for the UAC meeting was listed as next week, not this week. So I'll clarify that at the city council meeting that was discussed at today's meeting.
Yes. My fault. I caught that after the fact.
That's
I may
okay.
have fixed
Everybody's mind is on Valentine's Day anyway, so.
it. I actually may have turned it in with the correct date. So just check it when you go to council.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay.
But that's an easy one to address. So for JCH performs maintenance on our flight pumps. In the city, we have different pumps. And flight is one of them. They are the primary mechanic, sole provider, prior mechanic. I think sometimes those people might try and work it on, but they're not the certified flight mechanics, or they are, other people are not. So we have them under contract because we really need the actual certified sole providers to be the ones that are working on those pumps. So what we do is we have actually almost everybody who makes a pump, we pretty much have all of them under contract because we have different pumps around the city. And JCH does the lumber mainly for wastewater. A lot of the flight pumps are in the lift stations. So we are prepared to move, and we had JCH under contract for years before, so this is a continuation of this. They actually do really good services.
But just to help me deal with that.
Tony, we can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just so you know, in case you're ordering something for us.
Right.
A surprise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Are they local?
JCH is out of Albuquerque.
And flight means what? What kind of pump?
That is the manufacturer of the pump.
The manufacturer. So it's a brand name.
It's a brand name, yes.
Thank you. What is it used for?
Lift stations, it's used in the WAS and RAS too. So yeah, the lift stations, the waste and the return.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sludge, return activated sludge, waste activated sludge. So we'd like to keep JCH under contract.
Yes.
There's more than a couple of pumps.
Yes, there's each one of the lift stations should have at least 2. And so we have 4 lift stations, so that would be 8 pumps there. Plus at the Raz and Waz station, I think there's 6. 4 or 6 each, so there's another 10 pumps. 10 pumps. So yeah, we have 15 pumps around town, at least.
And in reading last minutes of the last meeting, you did have problems with the sledge when electricity went off.
Yes, we actually had some motors fail, some pumps fail due to the electrical surge. And The RAS and WAS, we recently have replaced a lot of them to make sure they look new or rehabilitated. They don't always have to be replaced in the sense of buying brand new ones. Sometimes they can just be rebuilt. There are critical components in that system.
And what do you mean by res and wes or what?
Return activated sludge, waste activated sludge. Would you like to go down to the wastewater plant for a tour?
Been there, but I just have never heard that.
RAS and WAS?
Those acronyms.
Okay.
All of you, at any time you want, we will stop and we're going to go down for a tour. Anybody wants a tour?
Meredith, but she's no longer here.
By the way, we still have a vacancy, so if anybody knows anybody who's interested, it needs to be from this ward, which Meredith.
I did see Meredith. We missing. The call Marie. She said, "She had taken it."
Come on down.
If she's interested, we'll present it to the mayor. Okay,
So I have a motion for recommendation for approval of light pump maintenance services.
I still move, Mr. Chairman.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Castellano, a second by Mr. Martinez, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, number 2, recommendation for approval of addendum number 2 to contract 3721-21 with AGM Construction and Environment Services Incorporated.
so AGM, we use them more for the environmental services side. They have performed cleanups for us in the river when we had all the human waste and needles and environmental issues in the river area. We got them under contract. Actually, city staff went out there and did a lot of work, and then AGM came in and tried to take care of the more dangerous stuff. We have also recently used them for some assessments at some facilities. We use them for asbestos inspection and or abatement. We use them for mold inspection and abatement. And so they are a good company. Community development has used them for cleaning out homes that are abandoned that have a lot of waste and environmental issues inside. So AGM has done really good work for the city over the last few years. So this, I believe, this is addendum number 2, so this would be year 3 of the contract.
How many years did they done?
They'll get up to 4 if the council continues to approve them, and then we'll go back out to get it.
And you don't see any reasons why they wouldn't.
Correct. Then reasonable prices, quick response. We called them last week and they were here within, I believe, 48 hours.
And they're from where?
I think the company's actually out of Albuquerque.
Okay, this is for approval of public addendum to the contracts. Would have a motion.
Also move. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Sweeney, a second by Mr. Martinez, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to 3, award RFP number 2023-04 for water and wastewater treatment plant operations and management services to Sodermo and Associates.
So as we discussed before, the city water and wastewater facilities require a level 4 manager to operate, so to manage the facilities and run the facilities. We currently do not have any city staff that hold the proper levels that are required to be able to manage the facilities. We are also short-staffed in addition to not having the senior certifications required. We're also needing actual employees to help out. So 4 years ago, we put this out to proposal, and Southern Illinois responded. So for 4 years, they've been managing our water and wastewater facilities. Wastewater has picked up a lot. Their employees have advanced a lot, not to the point where we no longer need a manager there. Most of the employees still have level 1s and level 2s. So we still need that management there, but they've picked up a lot of the responsibility. So we've advanced at the wastewater plant. At the water treatment plant, we've pretty much stayed about the same. We have employees, I think one employee was able to get their level 1 in the last 4 years, but none of the other employees have earned their certifications. None of the other employees have advanced past the certifications they had 4 years ago. And so we still need management, especially at the water treatment plant. It really came to a head during the fire. Having those extra employees there, having the ability to call on Slaughter Miller for additional employees. We had to go to a 24-hour rotation. There were a lot of quick decisions that needed to be made. That's where you really see the experience that comes with somebody who's been in the field for 30 years. So they have done a good job for the city. So their contract expires here in March, and we're going to need to make a decision going forward. So we went ahead and put it back out for a proposal. We only had one proposer, and it was Southern Miller and Associates. So I am requesting that we do award it to Southern Miller. We will continue to try and advance our employees. At the same point, we're going to continue to try and reach out everywhere we can for those senior operators to run the facility. I was contacted by Municipally the other day. They were asking about the opportunity for bringing in some retirees. You know, that's something that's been been presented to the legislature several times when it came to police, teachers, and water and wastewater operators. If there was a way that there could be something done so that if they were receiving ERA, that they can still come back and work and assist with the municipal government without negatively impacting their retirement. So that's still a goal, a request. It doesn't solve the problem because you still have people who are, have been in the field for 30 plus years, and it's not like they want to do another 30 years. So we still need to bring up the junior employees. We still need to find other folks to come in. But as a stopgap, Band-Aid, we need to look at being able to open up our workforce past what's already here. I believe the intention was to try and have people move out of the workforce, that younger people could move into the workforce. But if you don't have younger people moving into the workforce, all you're doing is losing on both sides, the beginning and the end. And that's kind of where we were at. So I don't know if that's going to make any advancement this year, but that is a desired position.
I'm sure there is, but is there quite a big difference in responsibility and wages and stuff?
Between a junior employee or a level 1 and a level 4? Well, I think the biggest thing is the accountability. The level 4 regularly is in communication with the Environment Department and Drinking Water Bureau and is responsible for maintaining the health and safety overall. So anytime chemicals are introduced or a process change is made, there's only a certain number of people that are allowed to make those changes. And the manager is the one that's ultimately responsible, so that we don't overdose the water with a chemical or underdose the water to the point where bacteria makes it to the household. So there's a lot of responsibility with it. And so there's also an increase in pay. We're looking at, I've actually, under direction of the city council, the starting pay for somebody coming in with those kind of levels is a lot higher than just anybody coming into a senior position or a management position, because you expect somebody with those kind of responsibilities to be paid properly.
What kind of is there a stipulation as to the longevity of the management or manager that you're hiring in the contract, or not necessarily?
So the contract is with the company, not the individual manager.
I see.
So it is just like any contract with a vendor, they can cancel their contract with a 30-day notice.
Yes.
The city can cancel the contract with a 30-day notice.
Okay, so it's
But ideally, we only want to go as long as we have to. but right now we still have to.
Do you think that you, within the next, let's say it's a 4-year contract, that you might be able to
You know,
cancel the
I was
contract?
really hoping within the first 4 years that we would have been able to hire somebody instead of hiring a company, hiring an individual.
Yeah.
And I called people that had level 4s and they were not interested. A lot of them wanted to just work like once or twice a week. You can't not listen to it, that.
Yeah.
And it was, for most of it, was never even about the money. It was either they were retired, and in that sense, they were retired and they didn't want to come back to hurt their PERA. But the people that didn't mind, who had experience, didn't want to put in the amount of time that it takes. This last several months, I would say easily 200 plus hours a month is what the employees from Slaughter Miller are putting in. Like one employee to the manager, because he's here. Anytime there's an emergency, he's here. Anytime there's a long evolution, and they had several long evolutions where all night long, they were replacing equipment, replacing pumps, addressing filter media change out. And those, unfortunately, they're not where you can do it like a 4-hour evolution and just stop, and we'll start it up tomorrow. Once you take the pumps offline, once you take the filter media offline, once you start something that causes the plant to come down, you have to keep going until you can get the plant back up again. And just within the last month or so, it was a project that went until about 2 a.m.
Do you bill, are you paying them overtime, or is that?
Yes, they get overtime.
Oh,
Yeah.
but that's an internal for them, right?
We in the contract we agree to pay their salaries. So
Yeah.
plus the company makes some money off of us. So
I see what you're saying.
it's whatever their cost is we're covering their cost, which includes the vehicle that employee drives, which includes when they have to spend the night here because they get off the job at 2 a.m.
Mhm.
and they live in Espanola. They're not going to drive to Espanola at 2 a.m. after they've been working for 18 hours, 20 hours.
When you're talking about a level 4 manager, like is that level 4 manager qualified for both wastewater and?
This particular person is, but he doesn't have enough time in his day to do both.
No, I'm just saying,
But here's-
usually they qualify in both fields.
Not usually. Some people do. Some people
Some
do.
people do.
Yes,
So they have to be, they're like specialists, like I'm wastewater.
correct.
I'm not.
So there's some common things between water and wastewater, but both are unique enough that if you can't just be a water professional and then jump over to wastewater.
So this manager's from Southern Middle.
This manager is now working for Sacramento. Yes.
So he's a sub.
They get paid big bucks, then that's why they don't want to
He
come
does,
into the
and he
city.
does.
I mean, really.
But I
that's-
would
that's
say
the bottom
that
line.
there were several times this year where he kept us out of, and helped us keep us out of violations, which would have been a lot more costly.
Because we'd be in deep.
But we need to get out of this. I've got no qualms stating I don't like having to do this contract.
The other alternative to them changing the requirements like they did for the police and teachers, et cetera, is, contracts. Have they considered, has this city manager considered contracting with people that, are retired and don't
So,
want to lose their para under a contract?
Right.
They would not lose their para benefits.
so that, I don't think we're immune to that either. So when we put this out for bid, everybody was eligible to bid for it. So there's a couple challenges. One is the PRA, which hopefully that might be eased a little bit. But I'm going to repeat the hours. I don't know how many people who have been working for 30 years want to do a job that's 50 or 60 hours a week. You know,
Yeah.
I have to say we're lucky because the one we have right now, he's willing to do that. He considers this he considers his town and calls it his water system. You know, and so there's things about that desire to do the right thing and the best thing that not everybody has. Even if they have a certification, some people are going, you know what, I just don't want to put in 50 or 60 hours a week when I've been working for 30 years. But we wouldn't be immune to that, and we'll continue to reach out to folks. We are not the only community that is short-staffed. We are not a community that needs operators, certified operators.
Kind of at the end of the day between a rock and a hard spot.
We're trying to build from within, but there's also a little bit of a different mindset with some folks today. And I don't know, maybe it's always been this way, that you get out of 1,000 people, you might get one that's willing to put in 60 hours a week, willing to advance themselves, willing to sit at home with a Sacramento manual, learning everything they can about the water wastewater system. And the other 999 want to be watching TV, listening to music, playing with the kids, playing the dog. And the only thing they learn is when they're at work. And so they might be adequate operators and operators that we still need. But the manager has to be someone that literally, I think, sleeps and dreams about making sure that the plant, all the decisions they make for the plant.
Kind of the future is.
I mean, I don't know. I know I have bad dreams in the middle of the night about making things right, but I would say I can't speak for Travis. Yeah. Sometimes you wake up going, okay, let's try that. Maybe that'll fix the problem. Because you can't stop your mind from thinking about it all night long. And not everybody's made like that. But I'll tell you, this guy is. He will call me at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, or he'll text me a lot of times. I think I have a solution, and I'll respond at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he'll ask me why I'm up, and I'll ask him why he's up.
Dedication,
Yes.
responsibility.
Lack of the ability to sleep when you have concerns on your mind and you can't sleep.
Live that forever.
Chairman, I'd like to make the motion that we award the request for proposal number 2023-64 for water and waste management treatment plant operations and management to Southern Miller and Associates.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Rudy and a second by Mike Martinez. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, we'll move to discussion items, monthly report.
I was gonna bring up my projects list and there's an update. If there's a particular project, let me know. Try and do this from my memory then. So for wastewater, there's finishing up on the Hot Springs project. The majority of the sewer line and the manholes are installed. They just need to fill in, I believe, around the manholes, do some services, and then they'll have to run the camera to make sure all the services were installed correctly. So the majority of the work is done. The road is still tore up, but that minor stuff may take another few weeks. So when the Hot Springs sewer line is done, they're right now in the process of starting the Hot Springs water line project. That involves installing a brand new PRV there near Towel Street. That one is a little bit of a challenge because that's a high pressure line. So they've already cut into the line, they've already put a cap on it, they're holding it back with an excavator bucket.
We have restraints. Tied a chain around the booms and put the excavator bucket just hold the bench.
And in this particular case, Travis stays really close contact with what the contractors doing.
On the, you're in the same pit, or you make a whole new pit?
It's north of the existing pit.
You make a whole new pit?
Yeah. One bit, and then the other one will be, they're not gonna leave it in place. We'll leave it. Once the PRV is back installed and online, they're working on a plan. I've directed them that they need to start getting that water line installed. The challenge is the PRV is a big installation, and then we have a bore that's gonna cross Mills at Hot Springs, and it's a diagonal bore from the old gas station across over by kidney dialysis. So we need approval from DOT. So we're waiting for the approval letter from DOT. They've already contacted the boring company. The boring company next available date is April on their schedule. So now it's going to be about coordinating the installation of the line and that bore to minimize the time that they're actually out there on the project. So that's currently what they're working on. The water line project will be less intrusive than the sewer line project because I believe it's all insurance. So that's an upcoming project. phase 2 of this hot springs project. And then phase 3 will be from streets. They're going to pave a section of that roadway. For
So what is the estimated time of completion?
the whole thing, estimated.
Everybody's asking.
Yeah. So the sewer line, let's say within a month. That should be completed within a month. And then the water line, because of the boring, that's not gonna be completed until after April. So probably by the time they do all their cleanups and their taps and everything, it'll be into June.
That includes
Potentially
the
in
paving of the road.
Now, the paving of the road's a whole different project.
Oh.
So Streets is working on some funding for that. They received some money from CDBG. And so I know they're working on using some funding for, yeah.
So in terms of traffic usage, when will we look?
It should open up after the sewer line portion is done, and then they'll just have lane, instead of the whole area being closed, they might just have lane closures because of the water line being just on the shoulder. We should be able to open hot springs back up in February, March. Yeah. Late February, early March, we should be able to open hot springs back up.
And yeah, that is an estimate. Thank you.
Sewer line at Independence, they're waiting for the manholes to come in.
Are they gonna block off stuff?
Yes, there will be some work done in the intersection there, so we'll have to block off. We're already hoping to have that done, but they're precast manholes, so they're waiting for them to come in, and then they'll close off. And they'll do a detour, take a look day, and then.
Oh, but the reason I'm saying too is that the schools are gonna be having the baseball games pretty soon too. And that'll be a lot of traffic.
They have to bring them down off of Grand to be able to get them, so. Where they
Yeah,
can be.
that's working.
Let's see, we have a sewer project behind Enchanted Hills we're still working on. That would potentially a collapsed line, so we're getting cost estimates from the contractor to work on that. We have a very steep line off of Luna Hill behind behavioral health that I think it's about a 60-foot drop approximately. And so it was causing some issues right at the elbow, I believe right at the bottom. So we're gonna have multiple drop inlets installed to slow down the speed and the force. So we got that project coming up. We have sewer line work on Keene Street, Chem Drive. Chem Drive is the one off of 8th Street, right?
Yeah.
Chem. So Chem, we're gonna be pipe bursting. That should start next week. Keene Street, there's a pipe crossing that we need to do some repairs to. And we're looking at a solution there because it's been patched before. It's an exposed sewer line across an area. So we're looking at fixing that. Keene Street sewer line that's underground, that's actually funded under a congressionally directed spending of $1.15 million that we received from Senator Lujan's office. And that, well, through the congressionally directed spending, and he presented that as one of his funded projects. That, along with an Independence from the Independence sewer line starting on Independence down by the ball fields, going across all the way to Alamo, which goes underneath the house and has a few issues. So that one is also funded with that congressionally directed spending, and we're looking at alternatives to relocate it so it doesn't go under a house, or do some reinforcement and possibly slip line being underneath the house. There's really not a lot of options to not. If we move it, probably the only location would be to move it into the mobile home park, and then it would still go underneath at least one mobile home.
Buy the house in Denver. Tear it down.
So we're looking at the options there, the cost of relocating the whole line plus the elevations to see if we even can relocate that line. Because it would go 50, 75 feet farther down Independence than it already is. So we're looking at that. We do have some funding from the congressionally directed spending for that. And then some repair work outside of West Las Vegas and North Gonzales, Perez, and West Las Vegas campus area. There was some issues there. We did some work in the campus a couple years ago. Now we're going to look at the other part of the infrastructure, and that's also under that congressionally directed spending.
Then road there also.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Travis has some work on New Mexico Avenue between Rio Arriba and Valencia. It's our water line project there. We've been blessed recently with 1.2 million from ARPA, 1.1 million congressionally directed spending, and some of these other projects that are funded under city fundings. We have a few $100,000 a year to spend out of city funds on, mostly we're trying to rebuild our wastewater infrastructure. A few projects there. The big projects, I'm excited to announce, I did confirm just a little while ago. The 140 million that is specifically designated in the omnibus package for water treatment facilities that were impacted related to the fire. We've submitted 4 projects and a project management funding request. The 4 projects are a brand new water treatment facility. Second one is effluent reuse, indirect potable reuse, and advanced wastewater treatment facility. The third one is sediment removal up in Canyon. Thank you. The fourth one is sediment removal at Story. And then our consultants that we have that have been helping us, we're going to need, with these big projects, we're not going to be able to manage these all within city staff. So we're going to bring them on board to help us keep all 4 of these projects as expeditiously as possible. Talked to FEMA, and we already provided our first notice of loss to FEMA for the Humboldt Peak Canyon Act. We provided all the documentation we requested, and on Monday I haven't seen the money yet, but on Monday they deposited 2.6 million for phase 1 of each one of those 4 projects, plus the project management. So we're going to move forward with the PER for the water treatment facility, the PER for Agua Pura, the planning and design for the 2 sediment removal systems, and the hydrology, geology, and water support from TDI. That was pretty exciting, but that's phase 1 of these projects. Those should take the next 6 to 8 months to do the planning, design, and PERs and go through the approval process. And then we'll need to, our engineers will be coordinating with the environment department, make sure everything fits within the requirements and meets all the permitting requirements. And then we'll move to phase 2, which for the 2 sediment removals. And at that point, once we have better cost estimates, then we'll go back to FEMA for the next tranche of money. But once we know what we're asking for, we had cost estimates for these phases, for phase 1 for all these projects. So once we know how much to ask for what the next phase will cost, then we'll submit that to FEMA. They have been very supportive and helpful. So I saw the screenshot for the 2.6 million was deposited. We'll be doing budget adjustment requests to get those in our budget so that we can go ahead and give approval, notice to proceed. All the engineers have received, they've been told that the contracts, that the task orders are signed, but they don't have notice to proceed. Once the requisitions are done, they will provide them notice to proceed. So all 3 engineers are ready to go.
Question?
Yes.
What's happening with Montezuma Pond?
In what sense?
The Montezuma Pond,
Yes.
it's empty right now?
Okay.
Right?
I haven't actually
I
been
don't
there in a couple
know.
days, so
You know,
Full of sediment.
Pardon?
Full of sediment.
we may have
Yeah,
also.
I know it's full of sediment, so it's been empty, it's still running empty, it has to be dredged before anything happens there.
So we probably open the sluice gate there to try to get some of the water. We're getting some, we're asking for some support from NRCS and Guillermo Montes to help us with excavating.
Where that dam was set by the Army Corps of Engineers, it sunk that pond. I don't know if they'll ever figure out that maybe if they put it back to where it originally was, you'd have the skating pond that you used to have, but I don't know. But the dam, the way it is now, did not ever work properly. Somehow it didn't.
Right now, we're working on what,
It didn't jam right. It, I don't know what happened, but you all lived through it. We saw it go downhill.
so I know a couple things. One, we're working with some support to try and get that excavated, get the sediment excavated out. We did that back in 2015-16, so we'll do that again.
My only comment is if they move the sediment out, dredge it, and just leave the same dam that's there, it's gonna be the same same mess it was, but it turned out to be,
So we're,
that's my only comment.
and we're working on perpetual clean out, task because of the amount of sediment that's coming down following the fire. So we're looking at many years of additional sediment in addition to, because normal sediment, if we sluice it like we're supposed to, we can keep up with just normal sediment. But you have to sluice it every couple times every year. If I'm not mistaken, that are you talking about when the dam was like about 10 feet higher?
Lower. It was lower.
Because at one point it was higher, and the state engineer came in and
Before
told us.
this one was set, it was lower. I know I walked across it many times and it was lower.
And somewhere I had seen something from the
It
state
might have been
engineer
higher
where it had been
way in
higher
the
and they had to
past, but-
lower it.
During my lifetime, it was about 3 or 4 feet lower than where it's at now. And I don't know what was wrong with that. I do know that it just used to flow over. There was not one place where it just flow over the whole dam.
So I know from what we're working on doing, we want to get that sediment out of there because it helps if you have, I think it's 8 feet deep there. So it helps if you have 8 feet of water instead of 8 feet of sediment. And we did clear it out back, I think it was 2015, do you remember? Yeah, we cleared it out then and got all the way back down to 8 feet. And then obviously after this fire, everything that's across the dam is holding back sediment all the way up to the gabions. So.
It's been a long time. I was in the canyon yesterday. The canyon I got there behind college. And that stream, there's actually a stream running in just a trickle now. In the Peck Canyon, same way.
All that sediment coming down Sebastian Canyon and Magnus Canyon. And, yep. So we're trying to work with it the best we can. And right now, what we'll be doing is getting a contractor, under contractor, maybe more than one, so that we can have them go out and perform removal of sediment, not excavating. They won't be allowed to excavate existing riverbeds, but anything that's loose that comes down because of the fire, they can double it. So we want to do the same thing for the river all the way to.
Which house, I'm back up a little bit on almost so that in here.
So I don't think it's under Alamo Street, but if you go on Independence and you go all the way down to where the snack bar is going to be, you stand down there at that last set of manholes, and if you look across the roadway, you'll see the fence line for the mobile home park. And just west of that, it is a driveway that goes back to, I believe it's a red home that's faces Independence. That home there, it's a garage, goes from a fence to a garage to a house, and that whole structure.
Just a question, were the people aware of the so that into the house?
I've never spoken with them about it, so I couldn't answer that question for you.
Because that is some form of leverage.
Well, we've had, there's a few homes in Las Vegas that are built directly on top of it. And better. So we're working on fixing that code, or not code enforcement, the community development is really getting good at making sure that anytime there's a development that the managers get to see it so they can comment on whether there's any utilities in the area. And it's a little bit of a challenge. I mean, that house is not new. It's been there for a long time. So is the sewer line.
Yeah, you're probably better off with some land.
Well, and we'll see. We've been doing a lot more slip lines lately.
How deep is it there?
4 or 5 feet, roughly.
Yeah.
It's pretty shallow. Relative.
The reroute will more than likely end up under a mobile home.
Yes.
So-
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I know whose mobile home it's gonna go under. But we'll have to, again, we have to look at every option and see what the cost is, what the time frame is. I don't even know if we can move it down that far and that the sewer will still flow. I mean, there's probably a reason why the manhole ended where it ended.
I got a question, Maria. What is the project look like for Baca Street for the pavement there that was pulled out for the water lines and stuff?
So I know that they're gonna be finishing the tie-ins during spring break. They want to coordinate with the school, finish the project. And school requested that we do it whenever the students are there. So they'll finish the tie-ins
I just
mid-March or April.
It does get bad
There's a couple of months.
sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a few times.
Okay.
And then after that, then we'll have to work to see what we can, there would have been some money in the contract for patching. We try and coordinate with streets to see if they have enough money to do the whole road, half the road, or if it's just gonna be a patch. We would rather do at least half the road instead of just patch. And the whole road would be even better, but we'll have to see if there's something for that.
So it's looking not boring around here.
And those are just a handful of the projects. I know my guys will be on the radio tomorrow, so if they're listening on the radio, they'll go over a lot more projects. Those are the ones I know that are affecting people the most. So it's, unless there's a specific question, that's project status. I really don't have a monthly report, but I can go to announcements if you want people.
That's fine with me.
So, as I wanted to announce that our staff have been working really hard for many years, but they were recognized this year. Tremendous recognition. So the first one is the water treatment facility received the Caroline Sanchez Award for Outstanding Achievement. So this is the traveling plaque. So we'll get it for a year and then it goes back to, the Water Wastewater Association. This is what the water treatment plant will get to keep. These will be presented to staff tomorrow.
And this Caroline Sanchez was
Caroline Sanchez, she has worked with the Water and Wastewater Association for about 4,000 years. She was there when water was invented. Caroline is an amazing person. She has been, I think pretty much every water wastewater operator knows Caroline. And she probably has everybody's phone number. But she's been working with the Water Wastewater Association for over 30 years. Big influence on many people. And so the Water Wastewater Association changed the name of their plaque to Caroline Sanchez Award to thank her.
great.
So, and it's, as this reads here, this award is presented to an individual or facility that best demonstrates a significant achievement or accomplishment during the year. Caroline was hired all the way back in 1973. So, we're going to present these to the water treatment plant staff tomorrow at city council meeting. In addition to the Caroline Sanchez Award, the water treatment facility also received the Northeast Section President's Award for most improved, most improved facility. So kudos to the water treatment plant for, and appreciation to the Water Wastewater Association for recognizing all the hard work that was done at the water treatment facility. And then we have one more presentation, and that will be for the Outstanding Operator of the Year, and that will go to Archie Alaman. He is our water distribution superintendent. He's also been a significant contributor to the improvements and everything that happens here in the water distribution. He's Travis's right-hand man, and I think there's many days where Travis knows that without Archie, not as much would get done. We wish we could clone him. So, in this case, Mexico Water Wastewater Association is recognizing him as the distribution operator of the year.
Congratulations.
So,
Yes.
if anybody is interested, we will be presenting them to those operators tomorrow.
Well,
Congratulations to you and staff.
These guys have been through a lot over many years, and this year was challenging, and they're all still here. Giving it their all. That's what I have.
And that's all the announcements, Maria.
Yes, sir.
All right, and member comments, anybody? Rudy?
Just like you're reading the minutes from the last meeting. I was real pleased to see all the progress that have been made with the Deutsch, Rotterdam, and the other places. And I think that's kudos to you guys again for coming through. I just have one more question. Is the water drinkable?
Water is drinkable. I drink the water.
My wife always asks me.
You can tell her the water is drinkable.
I drink it every day too.
you are great. Get me there. Plus the names are like that. Did we already fill up that high?
Yes. And we've already
Wait,
it's filled up that high, and they already excavated once. and it's back to pretty much full again.
So it's not my section.
You
Understand?
can see the little islands of
So
silt and sediment all the way between one dam into the next.
Where are they putting that?
Right now, when the Army Corps cleared it out the first time, they selected an area just south of the diversion, maybe about a half a mile south of the diversion. That was an area that they had marked off, but they were gonna put a sediment. I am working with my request to FEMA. FEMA required to select an area. We have an area adjacent to the solvents facility that we're looking at being able to place the sediment and within any permitting requirements, or there might not even be permits required, and be able to spread it out there so that it doesn't impact anybody and it's not durable.
and this sediment, none of it's contaminated, just.
Yeah, most of it is just from trees and soil and runoff.
Any other comments?
That's it.
Mike, no move. All right, let's move to adjourn at 2:21 PM.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.